Hello everyone, welcome back to Photoshop Tutorials. This is lesson 1.4 and Morehead Media Productions. So what we want to do now is I want to show you guys a couple tools. We're going to be looking at the Blur, Smudge, and Sharpen tool for this video. So we can go back and see that I created this layer that's basically the entire it's all the artwork compressed and combined onto one layer, and that was we saw that in the previous video how to do that. So now what I want to do is I'm going to go in and I have sort of this nice, I have some different texture, I have shadows and highlights on this layer, but it does look a little strange, and there's some things that I want to like sort of edges that I want to clean up. So one of the things that we can do is we can actually go and see, we can take this Smudge tool, and the Smudge tool says that it smudges or softens colors. And so that's sort of true, but it also, one of the things it really does is it pulls the color, like it pulls one from one selection, one color, into another. So it actually has this ability to almost like pull a tone through space, kind of like you're mixing paint. And so you can't really see it that well here, but basically I'm going around, and there we go. You can see it with the black lines much easier. I'm actually smudging, sort of trying to clean up by pulling the white into the black. And this isn't really the most effective way to do this. The other thing right now is I have this strength set really low. So if we turn that up, we can see it's actually going to have much more of an effect. You can see I'm pulling the white now closer to that edge. And let's just say I want to bring this white in more so that it covers up some of this orange. Well, I can literally just drag in, go along the edge and drag the white. And it could also be used to connect areas that you may have left open and you want to make them connected. You can see how it's also feathering. So like if I zoom way in, it's really smudging that sort of, it's really creating like a nice feathered edge as I go along the edge of these lines. It's smoothing them out along the outside edge, which is a really nice way to kind of like smooth some of the surfaces if you choose to do that. So that's the Smudge tool. The Smudge tool is a lot of fun. And next, let's look at the Blur tool. The Blur tool I find to be a little challenging to use. We have it set at strength 100%, and right here this is the pressure sensitivity. We can change the mode of it, but I'm going to stick with this right now. And with the Blur, you can actually use different brushes. You can apply almost any brush to this tool, but I'm going to stick with the basic brush. And I'm just going to go over the iris, and we can see how when I'm going over the pupil and this eye and the iris, it's really blurring out this, this contrast, this high contrast shapes, and you can see it's really pulling sort of shapes around in interesting ways. And if we look at the difference between the, that left eye and the right eye, it's quite significant. So let's just undo, and I'm going to get back, and I want to show you next the Sharpen tool. So holding Alt, clicking on the Blur tool, we get our Sharpen tool. And now, like if I go along the edge, we can see what it's actually doing is it's really clarifying and crystallizing information and saying, wow, there's some texture there. I'm going to really brighten up that texture. Look how that eye looks now. It's almost like a marble glass sort of effect. Okay, well, there's some sort of pixely texture here. I'm sharpening that up. Look how intense that just made it. It really brought it into focus. It sort of adds almost like a layer of focus on top of it. It can be really striking. Effects can be really striking. So the focus, the Sharpen tool has this ability to bring things into focus. The Blur tool blurs things out, and the Smudge tool pulls colors and tones and basically just takes pixels and sort of bends them and smooths them as you're drawing. So that's those tools, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And the last thing we're going to look at before we get into type is the pen tool. So next up, we're going to be looking at the pen tool.